Hi, my name is Daryl Kobo, and you are watching Wicked Anime.
Beautiful! Wicked Anime! Now, I consider myself an extremely story-driven person, but as a dude with the Y chromosome and testosterone and whatnot, I have an insatiable appetite for action movies, the ones with explosions and violence and the satisfaction of turning your brain off for 2 hours or so. Except for Transformers, those were just terrible. And when you think about it, that's actually the biggest flaw that the action genre has nowadays. That's what you hear most from people, that there's this sacrifice of intelligence for when one craves high-quality action sequences with lots of explosions in their anime, said one would be advised to go to Bones. Studio Bones brings the action to their animes, with incredible storylines to boot. All sides of my brain win. Bones is the animation mastermind behind such animes like Eureka 7, Soul Eater, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Full Metal Alchemist the movie, Conqueror of Shambhala, Full Metal Alchemist, The Sacred Star of Milos, and Ouran High School Host Club. But that one doesn't really validate my argument, so you can put this one back here. Yeah, there we go. So this season, Bones has graced us with a long overdue sequel, Eureka 7 AO, the next series in the Eureka 7 storyline. See how they added like 2 letters here? Now before I start reviewing these episodes, I must tell you, what follows is somewhat of a recommendation and more of a friendly suggestion. If you haven't seen the original Eureka series, I'd turn this review off. I may or may not end up spoiling some things for you. If you haven't seen the original Eureka series, I'd turn this review off. I may or may not end up spoiling some things for you. If you still haven't heeded to my warnings, well fine, whatever. I just expect you to be smart enough to watch the first series before the sequel. If you haven't seen the original, AO takes place about 20 years or so after the first series ended. This series, unlike the first one, takes place on Earth. Fully populated, technologically advanced Earth. Our main character is Ao. Yes, there is a difference between the name and title. If they didn't make it obvious enough, he is the offspring of Eureka herself. What you'd think they make obvious would be who the father is, but they've chosen to withhold that information from the audience. I hope it's Renton. But along with Renton, in the multiple episodes that I've seen, none of our other beloved rock stars have made any appearances either. So we got a 100% new cast of characters, all very intriguing, and they all carried their own individual storylines. Speaking of storylines, from what I've gathered from outside sources, the story is the part that's got everyone all confused and their brains are crashing because it seems like there's so much information to take on at once. Well, fear not, commoners. I understood it the first time through. The basics of the storyline is that scub corals have been emerging from the ground and teleporting G-monsters into their plane of existence and destroying a lot. So the nations of the Earth are gathering this technology from otherworldly mechanics, Nirvash, and they're using that to build their own tech to fight the G-monsters. Now there's this organization called Pied Piper who have successfully done so and got these big ol' IFOs of their own now who go punch the G-monsters in the face with missiles! And so they're these smuggler guys, they got this key, but Al finds it and takes it, which is kind of like stealing, which is bad, but then it's okay because it turns out to be his, and oh boy, he gets to drive Nirvash now. But he doesn't really know how, but he's so good, so Pied Piper is all, you come and work with us now. There are plenty of other side story elements that they throw in to thicken the story altogether, and sometimes you feel like you need a notepad to write everything down because there's so much information that they're telling you. The good news is that most of the side stuff is just character development points that usually resolve in 1 to 2 episodes, and I'm certainly not going to tell you anything that they say about Eureka and how she got there and stuff. I'll save that for you to find out on your own. If you do end up getting confused, ask me on the Nerd Show forums and talk to me yourself, or drop me a line on Facebook, and be sure to like our page too! The part that I do want to tell you about though, is the emotional connection that they achieve with this series. I tell ya, Eureka 7 has always had a way of pulling at my heartstrings. Seriously, it almost makes me think about maybe shedding some man tears, kind of. The greatest theme that they continue to use is being an outsider, or not fitting into the world that you're a part of. In the first couple episodes, you see Eureka in these clips that they show you that are like 5 seconds apiece, but by the way that they set it up and they present them to you, you're hit with all the emotions that Eureka is feeling, and you know that even though she's on a completely new planet in a totally different world, she still can't escape those feelings that she was haunted by from the original series. It's an element like that that a newcomer to the series wouldn't understand if they haven't watched the original series first. But it's that kind of emotion that makes you realize that there's a connection that's deeper than just a show. Kinda seems like it can create an emotional connection with the audience, because most of them have been there themselves at times, huh? And then, well, boom! There are explosions! and then you're like, oh, that was beautiful, I want to watch that again, and then boom, there's another one right there, and you don't even need to watch it again. Seriously, move over, Michael Bay. Studio Bones has created a new genre of anime. It's called anime explosions, or explosion-me. The action sequences, they sure know how to bring out the best in mecha anime. They're stunning and smooth and just so awesome to look at. It brings back the same familiar feelings of dogfighting in a giant surfing robot ship. Eureka 7 now still has its mysterious points at this moment, but I'm willing to trust it, especially if it goes on for the same 52 episode run the original series did. It would have a lot of time to fill in all those empty spaces. You wouldn't leave us hanging, would you, Bones? Please don't. Until that time, though, there are plenty of new characters to fall in love with, stunning animation to dazzle, and a perfect blend of action and story to make a sweet Eureka 7 smoothie. Unless Bones decides to shatter my hopes and dreams about the mysteries that they've left for us at the moment, I will plead my ignorance and proudly award Eureka 7 now our very first Wicked A. Don't make me a fool, Bones!